Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Now this is going to be another part on the scope, and what we are talking about today is accessories, and more to the point, breakout leads, lead adapters, fuse adapters, that kind of stuff as regards accessories and new leads. So I've seen a few questions from the first video because I recorded like 3 or 4 videos together, so this is kind of the only time I'm going to be able to kind of answer questions from the first video, getting a lot of really good feedback. People are talking about the scope and, you know, they're saying that they can't get it for the price. I said I've left all the links in the description. Contact the links and the people in the description and you will get it for that price. It's simple. This is some of the times the problems with doing YouTube videos. You say things, you put all the information, and people they just don't bother. They expect you to basically do more for them, as if wipe their arse, you know. I'll show you the products, I'll put the links in the video, and then it's up to you after that. It's simples. Right, so what we're going to talk about today is leads and like fuse buddies and fuse adapters and stuff, because when you really get scoping stuff, it's really important. The accessories are what really make the scope. And once you buy really good quality accessories, you can then, you know, these will fit on any scope. So once you upgrade your scope to more channels, faster, or whatever the case may be, all your stuff you bought, you can basically put onto your new scope. So you only really have to buy these once. These are from Warwick's test lead suppliers. I'll leave all the links down in the description. We'll also have a quick look at their website because there's a few things I want to show you. And the quality of these is second to none. They're all made in the UK. If you want any leads or anything, contact Gary. Again, links in the description. And what they do is they used to make all the Pico stuff. So if you're worried about quality, the quality is unbelievable. All the stuff that Pico had, they basically made for. So all this stuff, the quality is fantastic. We'll show you the leads. The leads are exactly the same as what you get from Pico. Now Pico, I think, have moved their production to other countries, so that's just the way big companies work, but the quality of these is phenomenal. So don't be worried about quality because it's second to none, and a hell of a lot cheaper than what you'd find on other sites, like Pico site, for example. So yes, I'll show you the reason why it's important to have the likes of these and what makes it easy for you. We'll be showing you these in different videos and stuff. So in other videos, I will be using them. This is just a quick run through of why you would need kind of something like this and the practical and the good things about them. What they also do is, if you need something specially designing, if you've got a problem with, you know, a connector here and a connector there, and you want to join it to your scope or something like that, and you don't really know how, if you contact him, he will actually make you a lead. So he can make custom leads for you for your specific application, which is fantastic, you know. And again, yeah, so what we're going to do is going to show you what we've got, and then we're going to show you the site and show you why you really need these sort of connections, because they're absolutely brilliant. Basically what we have, now this one is for the Siemens, I think this is the Siemens injector ones. Oh sorry, the Delphi injectors. The best thing about them is, because of the way they're designed, you can actually plug the connection off your car, plug this in, plug this back into your injector, so you can basically run the car, but you've got 2 leads sticking out which you can then connect to your scope. So these connections are tight, and the best thing about them is, depending on what you're doing, if you've done this for any amount of time, I'll show you the problem with back probing. And, you know, back probing is okay, but sometimes it's really annoying because the vibrations of the car, especially a diesel, can pull out, you know, especially if your back probes are heavy. And what I mean by that is, so let's just say you're back probed in like this, you got your connection here and the engine's starting, there's a lot of weight here, and it can wiggle its way through or wiggle its way out very easy. Or if not even so much out, because it won't really come out, but what it will do is, there is a couple of millimeters where it's not touching, and there it is, and that makes all the difference for your signal. So if this is vibrating, it could just break away from the contact and your signal might drop out, and you might think, oh yeah, I found the problem, my signal's dropped out. But it's not, it's because this isn't in. The likes of this plugs into your system with the clips, it's not going to go anywhere. Then you've got your leads externally and the car is still running. Because on a lot of cases, especially for intermittent fault, it's handy to have the car running. And with these type of leads, the car is running. It's got these special anti-chafing connections, and on them and everything. They're absolutely fantastic. Another really important thing, because like I've said in a lot of my videos, when you double back probe a sensor, you have to be careful. Let's just say, you know, we double back probe this sensor here, right? And our leads, you know, this is on the car is raised up from you and you're working somewhere else. You're pulling the leads, you don't really see. Next thing that happens, and that's going to short out whatever you're working on. And it could do damage to the sensor you're working on. It could do damage to your scope. It could just do so much damage, all because you're just pulling out the leads and they do that. Now that might sound stupid, but it happens. You've been doing it for long enough, it happens. And ask me how I know it fucking happens. You know, and then once you start piercing leads, now sometimes you just have to, there's no ways around it. But at least if you have the proper leads, the chances are a lot less. And obviously if you pierce leads, you have to protect them, put them back so they don't basically rust. The other thing is, even when you're piercing these, which it has the special weather strips, you can still be damaging the weather strips as you're going in. Not only that, depending on your connection, if you push something in, you can actually, and I don't have anything here to show, if you've got the female clips on the inside, if you push these probes in too much, you actually open up the clips on the inside of your connection. So when you do come to plug it back, you'll have an intermittent fault because you've actually opened the connectors internally. You don't really see it, but it can happen. With these leads here, that's never going to happen because you just plug it in and then you have the leads at the back. It just doesn't happen. I could really go on and talk a long time about why, you know, leads are important. I've got loads of breakout leads, you know, for all different types of things. You can't really have enough, especially if you are using these types of back probe because they're basically all naked all the way up. And in this case, it's not a good thing. They're very, very easily shorted. Don't get me wrong. These have the place, just like the other connections have the place. They really do. But when you can, you know, get a proper lead, it's always best. And it's mainly for, like I said, the vibrations, because if you have to keep a car running for a long time or even drive it down the road and actually see if, you know, if that sensor or whatever is acting up, if you've just got these probes in and they wiggle themselves out, you can think, oh, that's the problem. Yes, let's replace that 300-pound sensor. And all that's actually happened is your back probes has come loose. So you've basically just brought a 300-pound sensor that's useless. So that's why, you know, when you can, it's always good to have the proper leads, but especially with these, because you can see very, very easy. It only takes one of these to be pulled across. Let's put it this way, you'll only do it once. You'll use these because you think, do you know what, yeah, that's fine, you know, I can't afford the leads. These are absolutely basically pennies. I'm going to do it. And it'll always happen, I promise you, it will always happen on the most expensive part of the car and someone else's car. It will just always happen that way. It won't happen on the £5 sensor. It'll happen on the £500 sensor. It's just the way it goes. So that's why when you can get the proper leads, you're a lot safer for driving down the road. It's clipped in, it's not going to fall out. Or if it does fall out, which I suppose is always a possibility, you're going to physically see it, you know, where you won't see these if they just pull out a little bit. So that's why, you know, I do like them. I've got lots of ones to show you in lots of videos. You can get these leads very, very reasonable price. And once you've got them, you've got them. They basically, as long as you look after them, they'll last forever. Everything has its place. Yes, don't get me wrong. You know, back probes and everything, they are good. You just have to be careful with them. Yes, they're a hell of a lot cheaper than them, but they're better. You just buy bits gradually. You know, people, when you start working on cars and you want to start doing it properly, believe me, to buying a few of these is nothing. If you're worried about buying a few leads, then there's no point even trying, because there's a lot more expensive stuff out there that you're going to have to buy. You know, you just buy them gradually. Once you buy them, you know, your amp clamps, your leads and all this, you have them and you have them forever, basically. So, like I said, I could talk so long about these leads, but it's just pointless because there's just so many advantages with. Right, now someone did ask me, and I've been trying to find the comment, but I just can't, about the leads, because he made a very good point about having color-coded leads, because the leads you get with the set, they're not color-coded. Now, again, we've got, which I'll show you in a second in more detail, but we've got these leads from the same supplier, which, like I said, you know, they're the same as what you used to get with Pico. Fantastic leads, and they are color-coded, because that is a big thing, having color-coded leads, because depending on what you're actually doing, you know, if you've got two leads hanging down from you, you can't see the scope, you can just see the colors, and you know the green one is with the green channel, and the blue one is the blue channel. It does make your life a lot easier. And here we go, look at our sexy leads, sexy colors, so you'll never get confused again when you look at them, and it really does make a huge difference, like I said, especially if you can't kind of see the scope. And if you get these, put them on your ears, put them on your Britney Spears, go down to a local nightclub, you'll definitely pull with these. Well, you will if you look like me. Okay, that's a complete and utter lie, you won't, unless you may be in some type of bars, but they do look cool, don't they? Oh yeah, I can pull that off. Yes, they make a huge, huge difference. Now, as you can see, the difference between these leads to the ones we got on our scope, if you remember from our first video, only channel 1 has an earth. Now, all these come with 2 leads, where on other ones don't. But that's not to worry. That's not going to make any difference to our scope. So our Ditech scope just has, you know, a common earth, where these leads are designed for a scope that doesn't. And what that's actually... that's what the question can be for this video. What is it called when your scope has separate earths for each channel? That's what these leads are for. So the beauty thing about these leads is you can buy these leads, they'll work on our scope, and if you ever want to upgrade the scope, you have the leads already ready. And you can actually buy scopes, you know, once you've got all this stuff, you can upgrade your scopes a lot easier, because you can just buy the actual scope. You don't have to buy the full package, because you've already got everything. So it'd be a hell of a lot cheaper to do it that way. These are really made out of some good material, you know, they're nice, rubbery, flexible, so they're not going to really get stuck in, or if they kink, they're not just going to kink and break, you know, you can see that, look, I can push that, look at that, it's absolutely perfect. So it's really, really good. So that's why it's really handy to have good stuff. Let's have a quick look at that, and then we'll look at his website. Also, when you get these leads and you get your connectors, obviously these connectors fit straight into each other. But with these connectors actually on top, what you can actually do is you've got another one on top here. So you can actually join them all up, or have more on one, just like I showed you in my test light video. And then obviously when you have your other leads, which I've shown in other videos too, you can connect all other sorts of stuff to these, you know, clips for your batteries, absolutely anything can basically connect to these, which is really, really handy. So it means all your clips, your connections, all can go to these new leads. Right, we'll just quickly talk about our fuse extensions here. These are obviously brilliant as well, because I would advise you to get the full set. You don't have to buy it in a full set, you can buy them separate, which is also another good thing. But we have all the fuse types here, well, all the main fuse types here anyway, especially for the newer cars. And what this allows you to do is basically get a current reading from a live circuit. So in other words, if you take out this fuse, and let's just say it's a 20 amp fuse, and let's say it, for example, is doing our fan. Now, okay, granted you might have a 30 amp fuse for that, but we'll just, you know what I mean. So you take out the fuse, you put the fuse back in here, and then we put our amp clamp around here and we connect that to our scope. So let's say when the radio fan switches on, with that being a DC motor, we can actually see the waveform. Is it sharp points, is it stuff? Because if your fuse keeps blowing, you can actually see through your oscilloscope, through one of these, what's going on. Also injectors, depend on your car, you can see all your injectors through one of these. There's loads and loads of reasons what you can do for your lights and everything. You just basically plug these in, plug your fuse on top. I will be doing a separate video on these, but you know, if you're intermittent fuse blowing and stuff like that, you know, these are fantastic, because let's say you get an intermittent fuse blown, you put this on, like I said, you know, it happens when the door opens, or it happens when the lights come on, or whatever. You can put this onto your scope, turn your lights on and off, to open your doors, do whatever you need to do, and you can actually see the amperage coming through here. Because if it's, say, a 10 amp fuse and you're getting 9 amps all the time, well, then that's wrong. You know, it might peak at 15 amps and then it's going to blow, and you'll know, and then you can kind of take your diagnosis from there. So these do deserve a separate video, but I just like to show you them because they are vitally important. And again, you know, once you've got them, you look after them, you're sorted. The only thing you do need with these is an amp clamp, but we'll get that in another video. Okay, this is their website, and like I said, I will leave everything down below, all the links and that. And as you can see, we've got just loads of stuff here. IC testers. Now I will be looking at these and going doing some videos on this with circuit boards and ECUs and stuff like that, but that's for another video. As you can see, we've got test leads, we've got, you can just see the amount of stuff that these guys sell is just unbelievable. I've opened up a few tabs here. Here's the bespoke leads, so if you want custom made leads or anything like that, you know, well, there you go, they can make them. Even connectors, so if you want automotive connectors, you're making your own wiring loom, or you want to make your own stuff, again, they'll supply all that to you as well. So these are the price of the leads. As you can see, just so cheap. There's a special offer on the actual leads at the minute, so if you are looking for some, get on that offer while it's still there. 4 leads, 4 sets, which is what I have. The longer the better sometimes. Well, I've got the 3 meter ones, and I believe there is a 5 meter set. The longer leads can help, but they can also hinder you as well. So yeah, it's one of them things. It's half a dozen one and 6 the other, you know what I mean. So leads, now we've got our connections here. As you can see, you can buy them separately, or you can buy them in a kit. So again, you know, you need to kind of look through this yourself. This is the thing I'm really excited about. And as you can see, the price of this is fantastic. You go onto other people's websites, this is 6-7 times more expensive. This is going to be great, absolutely great for EV vehicles, because what this allows you to do is, we can see it on the picture here, it allows you to actually get access without having to, or with the vehicle running. And essentially what it does for the converter here, you can see you take off the original leads, you put this patch lead in place. It has 3 leads going, off to the scope. But what it means is you don't have to, because before what you have to do is basically cut all the wires off, cut the protector off, cut all the shielding off to actually try and put some sort of clamp around there to see what's going on. With this way, you just have to do a little bit of stripping, put this box in place, and you can actually still run the vehicle. You've done no damage to the wires, to absolutely anything. This thing is phenomenal. I guarantee you, once people start knowing this is about, you're going to be seeing this a lot more coming up on YouTube. I hope to be doing a video on it soon, because it is an awesome piece of kit. These was the fuse extensions I was telling you about, and as you can see, look, for all 4 of them, just look how cheap that is. Again, you go on other websites, that price is just phenomenal. Now, I always like doing this when on a website, go into the special offers or the clearance sales and stuff, and there's a lot of stuff on clearance and stuff like that. I just like to have a nose just to see what's actually on there. It's interesting sometimes. It's not good for your wallet, but it's interesting to see. Then we have special offers. There's multimeters and absolutely everything. As you can see, special offers on multimeters and all that stuff. So there's the website. To go and look at it, because I can assure you that you're going to like a lot of stuff on it. You just have to be careful of the old wallet, because you can start adding stuff to your basket and you never stop, or is that just me? And yeah, that's why I don't like looking at these websites sometimes. Oh, I want that. Oh, add, and yeah, before you know it, you're mortgaging your house again. Right, what I'm going to quickly do just to finish off the video is I'm going to quickly show you one of these on, say, the AC, or not the AC, but the radiator fan. I'm not going to really show you how to connect to anything. I'm just going to quickly show you why they're important, and in another video we'll go through it in a lot more detail. I'll also quickly hook up one of these, and again we'll scope it. So I'll just quickly do that. We'll do it on 2 channels, and yeah, so you can kind of see what's going on here. Right, I'll quickly show you the setup. Now this is the lead. Look how long this lead is. Absolutely brilliant. It's a 3-meter lead, but it's huge. These lead sets, believe me, you really want, if you're going to buy this particular scope, well, even any scope, buy this lead set. The lead set is fantastic. It's just a toss between the 3-meter and 5-meter. They have the plus and minuses, you know, if you go for the slightly longer one, but it completely changes the scope. It's unbelievable. Now, what I've done is I've got our amp clamp on here, and I've got it in our fuse for our fan motor, and I'm going to automatically switch it on. So I'm going to basically cross the relay to switch it on. Then I'm not sure yet what I'm going to plug this into. We'll find a sensor, but I need to plug that into the earth first. Dytex and Warwick do their own amp clamp. I will show you that in other videos. I haven't got my hands on any of them yet, but whenever I get my hands on, I will show you that one. So yeah, that's just plugged into that with the fuse on top. And what we're going to do is we're just going to get that waveform on channel 2, and then we're going to get another waveform on channel 1. It just kind of shows you what the fuse extender does, and also what the breakout leads do. So let me kind of get this set up, and we'll go into the scope. Okay, you heard the beep. What we'll do before, well, we'll just connect. We won't start yet. We'll just set up our 2 channels. Let's just change our time base to, say, a second. 2 channels. Our first channel A is just going to be our test lead. What I've done with this one is I've just used one of the leads to go into the O2 sensor, and we're just on one of the heater circuits at the minute, so it's going to be a nice, simple, easy one to do. So that's at 20 volts. 20 volts. Yeah, 20 volts, because it's going to go to battery voltage, so we need that. Channel B is going to be our amp clamp. Now, this particular amp clamp, we're on a 20 amp scale, and it's 100 millivolts per division, so we need to do a little bit of working out, but it's very simple. I'll let you work that out in the comments. So once I turn this on, tell me what amperage it is. We're on a 30 amp circuit, and yeah, so that's how we do that. We will turn this voltage down to, say, we'll try 5. We'll see how that looks, maybe between 5 and 2. And we are ready to go. So let's press start. As you can see on this side here, we have voltage, which is the blue lead, and on this side, which is channel 2, is red, and it's A for amps. So that's how we know we've got it sorted. And if you look up here as well, we've got channel A on our test lead and channel B on a 20 amp clamp. So we need to now zero the clamp, which is important. Now this is just, like I said, I'm not going to go into detail with this. This is just a really quick test. You can see the little spike we had from zeroing it. Right, so all I'm going to do first is I'm just going to switch my ignition on. We see our blue trace jump up. Now again, there's nothing wrong with this car, but if you was to monitor it, this is how we'd quickly do it. This is just to quickly show you just how easy it is with these particular leads. So there we go. It's gone up. Oh, have I put that on the wrong scale? I have. We need 20 volts on this scale. There we go. 2 channels. And we can see our blue trace is battery voltage, which is 12.6. Let me just turn the ignition off. And it goes back down. If I start it, wait for the battery to stop squealing, and now we can see we're at battery voltage, so 14.6. Now if you needed to monitor that, you'd obviously keep it on to see if there's any dropouts or anything like that. We're not doing that because we know everything's okay. Now just let me turn on the fan while the engine's running. And there we go. So I'm just going to stop this now. Turn it off, and what we can do is we can now zoom in to our waveform using this bar at the top, which I really like. I don't know where it actually begins when we turn the fan on. It will be towards the end. Just go through. There we go. Now, that's an old fan. You can see it's an old fan, but there's no major dropouts. It's kind of even, but you can actually see the commentators there on the actual fan motor itself. You got to remember this car now is 19 years old, so you're going to expect a bit of wear. So yeah, we don't. We're going to expect a bit of wear. We're not bothered about a little bit of wear. It's still working at the minute, so we're not that bothered. And there we go. How quick, easy and simple was that? And now with the way we've actually done this, if you need to drive down the road and actually monitor this or just leave the engine ticking over, we know our connections are good. They're not just going to basically fall out. So yes, that's an easy way to test a fan motor, and it is important because, you know, if your fuses keep blowing, you can actually see if there's any dropouts. If there was a dropout down here somewhere on it, you would understand why the fuses keep blowing, and you could put as many fuses as you want in, but it's the actual motor that's causing the problem. And I just realized all the bird shit on the screen, so you can look at that lovely, yes, didn't see that because I don't have it on my laptop screen. Anyway, we'll just have to clean that for the next video. So there we go, very easy. That's why and how you should have these sort of leads. Accessories with the scope make the scope. You can have the best scope in the world. If you don't have the accessories with it, it's just, you know, like a paperweight almost, because you need accessories to do stuff. And like I said, with the accessories, you can move it on as you upgrade your scope. As long as you look after them, they will last you a long time. So that's it, people. We will go into a lot more detail in other videos. Like you can see part 2 when I had all the animations and stuff. We'll be doing that with separate sensors. This was just to show you kind of the importance of getting leads and accessories and stuff like that. And once you get into this, you never stop. There's always something else you need, something, it's a nightmare. That's why people don't realize when they go to a mechanic and, you know, they're charging, how much you charge? They don't realize the price of these things. You know, it builds up, and after a few years, the amount of money you spent on tools is kind of scary, but that's just the way it is. And there's always a new thing coming out. There's always a new car with a new type of sensor, it's constant. But as you can see how quick and easy that is, I know them connections aren't going to come off. I know the leads are good. I know if I have to put the scope inside the car, we've got long leads. We've got absolutely everything. We're going to be sorted. So look, all the links down below to everything I showed you on here, his website and absolutely everything, so just get in contact if you want to get any bits. And that's it, people. There's a couple of questions to ask, remember. What do you call a scope that has separate earths, and what was the amperage on that motor there. So there we go. Look, hope it helps. Please like, share, subscribe and all that. Don't forget, links up here, links down below, but most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted.